Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of The Cure for Cowardice. Now, in this one, I wanted to talk about how consistency creates compounding results. Now, this is another one of those things that I feel like a lot of us hear a lot and kind of, take for granted. We don't really put too much thought into it. But let's use my main job for example here. So what I do is essentially door-to-door, business-to-business sales. And what I'm doing all day is walking into businesses and trying to talk to a decision maker. Now, that, for people who are not already in the industry, probably sounds complicated, difficult, whatever adjective you want to throw on there. And I'm not going to lie, it's not the easiest thing in the world. But here's the thing. Practice, aka consistency, with anything makes it significantly easier. Now, I have been doing it on and off for maybe 3 months now. 2-3 months, something like that. And it was only when I started going out every day, 5 days a week, I should say, that I started to get more comfortable with it. And not just more comfortable, but I started to actually get some results. Now, the thing is, it isn't just like a baseline level of improvement that I'm seeing. I am getting exponentially better at doing my job the more that I do it. But here's another thing. When Christmas rolled around, I ended up taking a few weeks off for a variety of reasons. But that time that I took off, the longer that I went without going back out and prospecting, the longer that I went without doing that, the more scary and difficult the thought of it was, which directly resulted to me having a lower likelihood of going out. So in the same way that my efforts to get better were compounding, my fear of going out was compounding to hold me back. And so it's not just that our positive efforts compound, it's that consistency in general compounds. So whether that be with diet, whether that be with a job, whether that be with a skill that we're trying to learn, whether that be with bad habits, whatever it is that we are doing day in and day out consistently is going to compound upon itself. And it's going to go like this. Now, the reason this is important is because oftentimes we get stuck in the habit of thinking, well, I did bad today, I messed up on whatever thing I was trying to do, but I'm going to do better tomorrow. But then tomorrow rolls around and the same thing happens, and we go, oh, well, let's say it's already Wednesday, this week's shot, I'll just try again next week. And then, it's already 2 weeks into the month, this month's shot, I'll just try again next month. And it's like, whatever it is that we are doing is going to compound upon itself and increase proportionally. And the other thing is we generally don't look at the bad things that are compounding in our life. We only look at the good things. And for a lot of people, there aren't any good things at that moment. It's like, if you have nothing going for you, if you have nothing that you're trying to work towards, and you feel like your life is a mess and everything is just getting worse, like, for instance, when I was leading up to this point where I decided to stop smoking for a while, I I was smoking more and more and more week after week after week because I had more anxiety about not getting things done because I was spending so much time smoking, and that was leading to me sitting around not doing shit, which then makes me anxious, which then makes me want to smoke some more. So you see how these things will literally become self-feeding cycles that just snowball into bigger and bigger and bigger problems because we're not looking at them as compounding. We're just looking at it as what we did in that moment or what we did that day. But if we look at the whole, if we were really honest with ourselves, you could probably take a look at your life and find 2, 3, or 4 habits that have been compounding for a very long time. A very long time. And again, if we're being honest with ourselves, those things that have been compounding are probably the reason why you are where you are right now and why you're not where you want to be. And so consider the power of how consistency will compound upon itself. And if you are consistently doing things that do not serve you, there's only one way it's going. It's not like you're going to taper yourself off of this thing that you've been building this entire time. It's not like the boulder's rolling down the hill and you're going to stop it in its tracks. You really have to get on a different course in order to be able to change some of these things. And I speak from experience. I'm not even anywhere close to where I want to be yet, but I'll tell you what, I am more or less unrecognizable from 3 weeks ago as far as my actions, my habits, my activities. And granted, there's still a lot that I'm doing that I could be better about, but all of that changed because I shifted my identity. Because I knew that the person who I was got me to where I was. And I didn't want to be there. And I definitely didn't want to continue down that road and see the compounding effects of that 5-10 years down the line. I knew that I needed something better, and I knew that if I continued along that path, there was nothing good in it for me. So you know what I did? I created a identity within myself that was able to take the reins, take control of my life, and go out and do the things that I needed to do that were uncomfortable, that were difficult, that were painful, that I didn't want to do, but I knew that I needed to. It's like another video I was talking about, how you're 4 to 8 weeks away from having a new habit. And in the same way, you're 4 to 8 weeks away from being in a significantly worse position than you are right now. And it doesn't matter really what we're talking about here, because like I said, consistency will compound upon itself. Now, back to the positives. If we are just looking at consistency as the goal, it doesn't matter if we make 50% progress or 1% progress towards what we're doing, because that will still compound. That is still consistency. So long as we are still doing the things that we set out to do, to whatever degree that we are able to muster, that will compound upon itself and will make it that much easier to continue doing. So for instance, with eating healthy, it's like, yeah, it's difficult to go out and pick healthier meals, pick healthier foods, go to the grocery store, go shopping, wait in line, pay for all of your stuff. It might be more expensive than what you're used to. Go home, prepare everything, cook everything. That is a whole lot of stuff that if you weren't doing it before, that's painful. That's uncomfortable. You don't want to do that. But I'll tell you what, if you do that and you really clean up your eating for a week or two, not only will you immediately start to notice the benefits as far as your physical body, because you'll shut off that stuff that's just basically holding itself within you, all that toxic waste that's in our food that's just storing itself. That'll all come out. But not only that, if you then go and eat a really crappy meal that you used to eat all the time, your body is going to let you know that it doesn't want that. And you're going to eat it, and you're going to feel like absolute garbage. And you're going to say, well, why do I feel so bad? I used to have this all the time. And the answer is because your body is now starting to get used to the healthier eating. Your body is now starting to get used to a cleaner form of fuel that you were giving it. And so when you stick something back in it that's going to clog it up, that's going to corrode it, that's going to oxidize you at a faster rate, your body almost wants to reject it. Like, straight up, I had ramen noodles last week, I think it was, and 2 days later, I quite literally could not keep it down, and it all came out in a graphic way, so to speak. I was hurling it up. And at that point, it was just this yellow sludge that was all clumped together. And by the time I got all of it out, I literally felt at least twice as good as I did prior to that. And then the next day, my shirt fit me better. So, I guess, again, what I'm saying is consistency compounds. And if we really took the time to look at the actions that we are consistently taking, the foods we are consistently eating, the work we're consistently doing, then it would be no question of why we are where we are right now. And it would be no question of what we need to change in order to get where we want to go. So, and back to the food example, not only will your body reject the bad stuff, but it's going to get easier to do all the good stuff. It's going to become more automatic. You're not going to have to think about it as much. You're going to start to enjoy the shopping, going after these healthier foods. You're going to start to enjoy cooking again, trying these different recipes, trying to find different stuff that you like. And slowly but surely, you are going to turn into the person that you want to be, so long as you are consistently taking the actions to some degree or another. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you fall off for a day, that sucks, but don't wait until that next day to get back on it. As soon as you realize that you messed up, that you did something that goes against the direction you're trying to take your life, yank that fucking steering wheel back. Take back control of your life. Don't be a victim to your circumstances, and definitely do not be a victim to your own actions. I want to reiterate, I make these videos mostly for myself. But anyway, I think that pretty much sums up what I wanted to say in this one. Consistency compounds. Careful of what you're consistent about, because that will lead to the life that you have. And if you want to change your life, change your actions and what you consistently do. Anyway, I'll catch you on the flip side.